Breaking news straight out of the courtroom, and trust us, you are not ready for this one. Rap icon Lil Durk, known for his stone-cold lyrics and unshakable demeanor, was seen wiping tears from his eyes today as the judge delivered the shocking verdict he never saw coming. Cameras weren't allowed inside, but eyewitnesses say the entire room went dead silent when the gavel hit. And then, all hell broke loose. We're talking emotional breakdowns, explosive outbursts, and whispers of betrayal from inside his own circle. That's right, some say the man who stood by Durk through thick and thin just flipped the script when it mattered most. The streets are buzzing, fans are devastated. And even rival rappers are posting cryptic tweets like, "Damn, never thought I'd see the day." Was Lil Durk really blindsided by someone he called family? Why did his team look so nervous before the hearing? And most importantly, what did the judge say that had one of hip-hop's hardest names fighting back tears in open court? Stay locked in, because this story has twists, secrets, and a betrayal so deep it might just shake the entire industry. Let's get into it. Yo, the scene outside the courthouse was straight out of a movie. Fans were lined up along the barricades, media cameras flashing, and rumors flying like wild bullets through the air. Everyone was waiting on one thing: Lil Durk's court appearance. The energy was electric, but heavy, like everyone knew something big was about to go down. Whispers in the crowd spoke of secret deals, leaked audio, and even a mystery witness nobody expected. And when Durk finally stepped out the black SUV, rocking an all-black fit and dark shades hiding his eyes, the silence hit like a punch. No smile, no nods, just tension. And behind him, his crew looked even more shook than he did. Inside the courtroom, you could cut the tension with a knife. Durk sat at the defense table, his lawyer whispering something in his ear, while the prosecution laid out papers like they were ready to drop bombs. The judge walked in, expression cold, no nonsense. And that's when the drama started to unfold. The prosecutor stood up and said, "Your Honor, new evidence has come to light that changes the nature of this entire case." Gasps rippled through the room. Durk's lawyer looked blindsided. Hand Durk. He sat still, jaw clenched. But his fingers tapping the table betrayed that he was nervous as hell. The judge nodded slowly, like they already knew something big was coming. Then, the prosecutor pulled out a flash drive. "We have an audio recording," he said, "from someone inside Mr. Banks' inner circle." The room froze. Inner circle. Fans and reporters exchanged glances. This wasn't just a legal case. Now it was about loyalty, betrayal, and the kind of secrets that could destroy careers. The judge gave a go-ahead, and the courtroom speakers came to life. A voice crackled through the speakers. It was low, tense, and unmistakable. "I ain't talking the fall for this. He told me what to do. Durk planned it. He said, handle it. And I did." You could hear people gasp. Someone even dropped their phone. Durk's head slowly turned to look at his team behind him, and one face, in particular, stood out. His longtime associate, someone fans had seen by his side for years, wouldn't meet his gaze. He just looked down at the floor. That was the moment Durk knew. Somebody had flipped. Court was adjourned for a recess, but the drama didn't stop there. Outside the courtroom, chaos erupted. Fans were crying, others yelling at reporters, and bloggers already live streaming with titles like "Durk betrayed by his own man." And is this the end of OTF? Durk's cousin, who was seen rushing out the courtroom with tears in her eyes, screamed, "They lied on him. He ain't due. Not then." But the damage had already been done. The streets were talking, and social media. It exploded back inside during the second session. The judge announced they would be setting a release date for Durk, but not the one fans were hoping for. See, this wasn't a celebration. This was a sentencing release date. And as the judge read the potential years Durk could be facing, the air was sucked out of the room. 23 years. That number echoed. Even the stenographer paused for a second. Durk, who had been calm this whole time, suddenly leaned forward, elbows on the table, and dropped his head into his hands. It was quick. But then, a single tear rolled down his cheek. That tear. That was the moment. The moment fans would never forget. This was Durk, one of the hardest, most respected names in the game, breaking down in front of the world. Number lyrics, no music videos, no tough persona. Just a man facing the reality that he might lose everything. His mom, seated behind him, reached out and called his name. Durk, you. Soft, shaky. The courtroom guards didn't stop her. Maybe they understood. Maybe everyone did. And that's when it really hit. This wasn't just a rap story anymore. This was family. This was survival. And something about the way she said his name had the room holding their breath. Durk didn't look back, but his shoulders shook slightly. The man was crying, quietly, in the middle of court. As court wrapped up for the day, the judge ordered Durk back into custody until the final decision. No bail, no special treatment. He was escorted out in cuffs. And as he walked past the media, head low, someone shouted, "Yo, Durk, they really got you like that." He didn't respond, just got into the van and disappeared behind the tinted glass. But what came next sent shockwaves through the entire industry. That night, a video surfaced online, grainy, shaky, but clear enough. It showed a heated argument between two ATF members in a back alley just hours before the court hearing. One of them was screaming, "I ain't going down for that man. He left me hangin'." The other was trying to calm him down, saying, "Bro, not here, not like this." They watch in, and just like that, fans started piecing things together. Who was that voice in the audio? Was this the same guy in the alley? And more importantly, what did Durk do that made someone so close turn into a witness for the prosecution? Rumors were flying that the state had offered a deal walk-free in exchange for information. And if that was true, then someone in Durk's team had sold him out to save themselves. It wasn't just betrayal, it was survival of the fittest, and Durk might have been the sacrifice. The next morning, social media erupted again. Big names like Meek Mill, 21 Savage, and even Drake posted cryptic messages. "Watch who you call fam," one read. Another just said, "Loyalty over everything." Fans immediately linked the posts to Durk's situation, and by mid-afternoon, the hashtag free OTFDURK was trending #1 worldwide. And while the public raged, another video dropped, this one from Durk's baby mama, who went live on Instagram, visibly emotional, saying, "Y'all don't even know the half of it. That man been protecting people who wouldn't do the same for him. I told him they wasn't real." She stopped herself mid-sentence, wiping tears, then whispered, "They set him up. It was always gonna end like this." The internet went wild. Blogs, channels, even mainstream media started digging deeper. Who was the mystery witness? What was on that audio? And most chilling of all, what if this wasn't the first time someone close to Lil Durk had turned their back on him? As the questions multiplied, part 2 of this shocking courtroom drama was already brewing behind the scenes. And just when fans thought they'd heard it all, another unexpected twist was about to explode in front of the entire world. As the sun rose over Chicago the next day, the world was still buzzing with the emotional weight of what went down in court. Memes, fan theories, and hot takes dominated social media. Durk's silent breakdown, the betrayal. The audio everything was now a massive cloud hanging over not just his career, but his entire legacy. And just when people thought the drama had peaked, things took another wild turn. Word leaked that the court had subpoenaed another person from OTF to appear in the next hearing, and this time, it was someone no one expected. It was none other than Bobby Lil Zay Carter, Durk's day one homie. Fans knew him from old. Mixtape days, low-key appearances in music videos, and real ones remembered when Zay took a charge for Durk back in 2017. So when his name popped up on court records, people lost their minds. "Nah, not Zay," one fan tweeted. "If he talkin', then it's over." And the drama wasn't just unfolding online. Word from inside sources said that Durk was furious when he found out. Apparently, according to someone close to the camp, Durk was pacing in his holding cell, punching the wall, asking over and over, "Why Zay? Why would they pull Zay in?" The trust he once had in everyone around him was evaporating, and for good reason. Meanwhile, Lil Zay had gone ghost. Deleted socials, no word from him or his people. But reporters outside his mother's house spotted activity. Cars coming and going, security posted at the gate, and a tense energy in the air. Was Zay in hiding? Or was he prepping to take the stand? Then, on the second day of court, Zay showed up. Fresh cut, designer fit. But his face said it all. He looked haunted. Not the confident Zay fans remembered. This was a man carrying secrets. As he walked past the media, someone shouted, "Yo, are you really testifying?" Zay didn't say a word. Just kept walking, eyes forward, eyes forward. Inside the courtroom, Durk's eyes locked on Zay the second he walked in. And for a second, just a second, it looked like Zay flinched. Like the weight of what he was about to do was killing him inside. The judge called the session to order, and the prosecutor stood. "We call Robert Carter to the stand." The entire courtroom leaned forward. ZY took the oath, sat down, and adjusted the mic. What happened next shook the room to its core. "Mr. Carter." The prosecutor started. "You were present on the night of the alleged incident." Zay nodded slowly. "Yeah. Can you describe what you saw?" Zay paused. His lips parted, then closed again. He glanced at Durk. The room held its breath, and then he spoke. "I saw ... I saw everything. But it ain't like they say everyone stiffened. Durk ain't order nothin'. He was trying to stop it. We was heated. Yeah, things got wild, but he wasn't behind it." The prosecutor looked thrown off. This wasn't what they expected. "Mr. Carter, are you aware that your statement contradicts a previously submitted audio recording?" Zay swallowed hard. "That voice on the audio? That ain't me." Gasps. Even the judge raised an eyebrow. "We verified the voice print. No disrespect, Your Honor," Zay interrupted, "but them files ain't real. Somebody edited that clip." And just like that, the case took a whole new twist. The courtroom was chaos. Durk looked stunned. His lawyer leaned over, whispering furiously. The prosecutor asked for a recess. Outside, fans were going crazy. Headlines flooded in. Witness recants. Was evidence fabricated? Zay breaks silence. But backstage, there was another twist nobody saw coming. A close friend of Durk's, Marie, the cousin who screamed outside the courtroom, earlier posted something cryptic on her story. A black screen with the words, "Check the footage." They edited it. We got proof. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Fans and sleuths started digging, comparing old interviews, pitch patterns, timestamps. The theories started to form. The audio played in court might have been doctored. Meanwhile, Zay was now facing heat of his own. By nightfall, reports surfaced that he was under investigation for perjury. People were calling him a liar, saying he changed his story out of fear. Others said he was protecting Durk because of blood ties deeper than music. But in the middle of all this, one new voice entered the chat stand. It shook everything. KEISHA. Durk's ex and the mother of his oldest child went live. Emotional, raw, and clearly upset, she said. "They don't want me to talk, but I'm done staying quiet. Durk been moving different lately. Trust is gone. And that voice on that audio. I heard that convo myself. I know exactly who said it, and it ain't who y'all think. Her comments sparked a wildfire. Fans started guessing. Was it someone even closer than Zay? Someone who had access to both Durk's trust and his inner world. The next morning, bloggers dropped a bombshell. A second audio clip had leaked, and this one was clear. It wasn't a shady, low-quality recording. It was crisp, and it came with video. In the clip, a man was seen in a private studio room, pacing, saying he gotta go down. I ain't talking the heat no more. Let Durk be the fall guy. I got kids to raise. The voice was familiar. It was Ace. Durk's road manager, the guy behind all the tour setups, the man who fans always said moved in silence. He wasn't. Flashy, barely posted, but he was always right beside Durk. And now, the streets were saying he was the snake all along. Durk's lawyer responded almost immediately, filing a motion to have the original audio thrown out as manipulated evidence. Suddenly, the case wasn't just falling apart, was exploding. And with that motion, the judge agreed to delay the release date decision. But Durk wasn't celebrating. Back in his cell, sources say he was quiet, detached. He told one of the guards, "Even if I walk out of here, I ain't ever gonna be the same." Because this wasn't just a legal battle anymore. It was personal. Everyone he thought he could trust had shown their true colors. The family was divided. Fans were torn. Some believed Zay saved him. Others thought Keisha was stirring the pot. And now, Asa, man behind the scenes, was at the center of it all. And as part 2 came to a dramatic end, the question on everyone's mind wasn't if Durk would get out, but who else would go down before this was all over. Because the truth, it was still unraveling by the time court resumed for day 3. It wasn't just fans watching anymore, it was the whole industry. Labels, lawyers, artists, even rival crews were tuned in. Something about this case had grown bigger than Durk. This was about the system, the streets, and the thin line between loyalty and survival. And as Lil Durk entered the courtroom again, head slightly bowed, but jaw tight, people could tell he wasn't broken. He was focused, but behind that focus was rage, betrayal, grief, and most of all, questions. The first bombshell dropped just minutes into the session. Durk's defense attorney stood up, file in hand, and requested permission to submit new evidence into the record. The judge raised an eyebrow, but allowed it. And that's when the lawyer pulled out a USB. "Your Honor," he said, "we have obtained full-length security footage from the studio session on the night in question." The original audio clip submitted by the prosecution was edited. Heavily, the room held its breath. The prosecution objected immediately, accusing the defense of manipulating evidence to protect their client. But the judge allowed the video to be played. And what the courtroom saw next flipped the narrative on its head in the full-length footage. Ace, the tour manager, was seen pacing, angry, throwing his phone on the couch. Another man, out of frame, could be heard whispering, "They gone, pin it on him. Let him take the hit. You stay clean." Ace responded, "He don't even know half the stuff I've been moving. If I go down, he definitely going down." And then came the words everyone remembered from the original audio, but now they were clearly from someone else. "He told me what to do. Durk planned it. He said, handle it, and I did." But here's the catch: that voice, it didn't belong to Ace. And it definitely didn't belong to Zay. It belonged to a third person. Someone who hadn't even been mentioned in court yet. Malik Brown. A minor name to the public, but to Durk, he was a former OTF affiliate turned rival. He'd been ousted years ago after a rumored internal beef and had since gone quiet until now. Turns out Malik had been working behind the scenes with the prosecution. They needed a voice, a story, a villain. And Malik gave it to them. And suddenly, the courtroom turned into a frenzy. The judge called for order as the prosecution scrambled to recover. Durk sat motionless, staring at the screen. But behind his stillness was fire. His lawyer leaned in and whispered, "We just cracked their whole case open." The fans outside the courthouse erupted. Hashtag MalikTreeEdit and hashtag OTF Never Fold started trending. Within the hour and on the blogs, receipts started pouring in. Old tweets, deleted photos. Even DMs allegedly showing Malik bragging about Mackin, a comeback off somebody else's name. And just like that, the betrayal became deeper. This wasn't just about someone turning on Durk. It was about someone building a case against him for clout. But even as the truth came out, it didn't mean Durk was in the clear. See, Malik's story might have been falling apart, but there was still enough smoke around the original incident to keep the case alive. And that meant the judge still had a decision to make. Meanwhile, Ace disappeared, literally vanished. Skipped a scheduled deposition. His phone was off. No one knew where he was. Some said he was on the run. Others whispered he'd been handled by people who didn't want more dirt coming out. And then another twist. Zay was arrested. Yes, you read that right, Lil Zay. The day one homie who had just gone on the stand to defend Durk was taken into custody on unrelated charges, or so they claimed. Word on the street was it was pressure. The system trying to shake him, make him change his story. But the arrest just made things messier. Fans were furious. Durk's family was devastated. And behind bars, Zay was reportedly refusing to speak to anyone. Meanwhile, Durk's ex Keisha dropped another bomb on Instagram Live. She said, "Y'all actin' like he innocent? But let me tell you, Durk knew what was happening around him. Maybe he ain't pulled the trigger, but he ain't stop it either. And he was protecting people who ain't worth protecting." And that, one sentence. That one line had fans spiraling. Was Keisha bitter? Was she telling the truth? Or was she being used to push another narrative? As all this chaos unfolded, Durk remained mostly silent. No statements, no interviews. But one photo leaked from inside him, sitting alone in his cell, head down, writing something. Some said it was lyrics. Others said it was a letter to his kids. Either way, the pain was real. And then came the private jailhouse visit. Sources confirmed that Durk's mother came to see him. And what was supposed to be a quiet visit turned into another emotional storm. Behind the glass, with tears in her eyes, she reportedly said, "You got too much heart. And that's why they keep breaking it. You've been loyal to people who would trade you for a bag." Durk didn't say much, just nodded. But at one point, he reportedly whispered, "I'm done. When I get out, everybody gone. Everybody." And that, right there, was the shift. The moment fans started believing that Durk wasn't just fighting a case anymore. He was preparing for a rebirth. Meanwhile, the judge delayed the sentencing once again, citing new evidence and pending investigations. But fans knew what that really meant. This thing was unraveling faster than anyone expected. And then, something happened that nobody saw coming. A letter surfaced, anonymous, handwritten. It was sent to Durk's lawyer, who verified its contents and then submitted it to the court under seal. But a leaked copy hit the blogs hours later, and what it said: pure chaos. "I lead. I said what they wanted. I thought I was protecting myself, but now I see I just became another pawn. I ain't want to do him like that. I owe him everything. Please tell him I'm sorry." No signature, no name, but the handwriting matched Ace's old tour notes, and now the story had gone full circle. Ace, the silent operator, the man in the background, the one who was supposed to protect everything, might have been the reason it all fell apart. And as Part 3 closed, with the world still reeling from the twists, lies, and betrayals, there was only one thing left on everyone's mind. Was it too late to save Lil Durk? Or was this the final move before the empire either crumbled or came back stronger than ever? The city was on edge. Fans had gathered outside the courthouse before sunrise. Chicago hadn't felt this tense since the feds raided Kiev's old block. Everyone knew that today, Day 4, was going to be the climax. The energy wasn't just anxious, it was electric, like everyone could feel something major was about to happen. And they were right. Inside the courtroom, the air was thick. Media packed the benches. Even a few fellow rappers showed up in disguise, sitting quietly in the back row, hoping to witness the outcome firsthand. Lil Durk walked in wearing the same calm expression that had covered a storm for days, but this time he looked different. Not scared, not even angry. Just ready. His lawyer stood tall. Your Honor, before you make any final decision regarding the release date or sentencing, we have one more piece of evidence to submit. The judge nodded, likely expecting another delay tactic. But this wasn't a delay. This was the bomb. A live testimony via Zoom call. From none other than Ace. Yes had resurfaced. Nobody knew where he was calling from. His face was half in shadow. His voice, cracked, tired, like a man who'd seen too much and knew his days of hiding were numbered. I know what I did, he started, voice trembling slightly. I lied to save myself. I said things that painted Durk as the mastermind when, in reality, he didn't even know the full situation. It was me. I made the moves. A tie kept things from him. The courtroom was dead silent. I thought if I gave them what they wanted, they'd let me walk, he continued. But they kept coming. Wanted more. More lies. More dirt. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't breathe. So this is me, ... Setting it straight. The judge leaned forward. Are you saying, under oath, that Lil Durk Derek Banks was not the instigator? Not even close, Ace said. He tried to shut it down. Told me we were moving reckless. I didn't listen. And now I got blood on my hands. A collective exhale rolled through the courtroom. The prosecutor looked defeated. Durk just stared at the screen. No anger. No hate. Just silence. Maybe he felt vindicated. Maybe he felt nothing. Maybe ... It was both. The judge took a moment, flipping through pages on the bench. Then she spoke. In light of this new testimony, the court will reevaluate Mr. Banks' level of involvement and culpability. Release date decisions will be delayed until further review. But given the shifting evidence, Mr. Banks is hereby granted conditional release pending final review. The crowd exploded. Fans screamed. His mom broke into tears. Durk stood, slightly stunned, as the bailiff unlocked his cuffs. He was walking out. Not a free man, not yet, but freer than he'd been in months. And the reaction outside? Pure mayhem. Fans chanted his name. The hashtag #DURK is free again hit #1 in 10 countries. The city celebrated like their hometown hero just beat a murder charge, and in a way, he had. But even as he left that courthouse, the story was far from over, because with freedom came fire. Within 48 hours of his release, Durk dropped a surprise track. No promo, no warning. Just a black screen with white letters. This for the ones who switched. The song, brutal. He didn't name names, but the message was clear. Bars like you tried to trade your loyalty for leverage. Now look who got the leverage, and I cried in court, but I bled in silence, set the internet on fire, and dissected every line, hunting for clues. Was he talking about Ace, Zay, Keisha? The line that really hit though. Even when they lied, I stayed solid. I ain't pointing no fingers. I just waited on God. And that told everyone Durk hadn't forgotten. He hadn't forgiven. He was just getting started. Meanwhile, fallout began. Across the board, Ace turned himself in 2 days after the testimony. Some said he feared for his life. Others believed he wanted to make peace before the streets made a decision for him. Either way, he was now under federal protection, facing his own charges. Malik disappeared. Nobody's seen him since the second audio clip dropped. Rumors say he fled the state. Others believe he's laying low, fearing retaliation from both. Legal Sides and the Streets.zay was released too cleared of the unrelated charges. Once it became clear, they were just a scare tactic. Durk reportedly reached out to him. What was said during that convo? Nobody knows. But insiders claim Zay told one person, "We was brothers. I'm still down, but it's up to him now." Keisha kept her distance. She posted a cryptic quote. A week later, truth always comes back around, and sometimes it hurts the ones you love. Fans had mixed feelings. Some saw her as a truth teller. Others blamed her for feeding into the chaos. But Durk, he stayed locked in. Interviews started pouring in. Offers from every major platform, he turned most of them down. When one journalist asked him outside his studio what he had to say to fans, he simply said, "Thank you. Y'all held me down when I was down bad. Now it's my turn." And then came the final twist. Durk filed legal action against the state for wrongful accusation and emotional damages. His team claimed the use of fabricated evidence and coercion of witnesses put his entire life and family at risk. The case, still pending. But word on the street was that Durk wasn't just coming back, he was coming back to win. And quietly, behind the headlines, something else happened. A reconciliation. Durk was seen. 2 weeks later, meeting with Zay in a private park. No cameras, no chains, no security. Just two men who'd been through war. Trying to figure out what loyalty meant after hell. Someone who saw them said they didn't argue, didn't yell, just talked. And when they parted ways, Durk gave Zay a dap and a hug. Maybe that's closure. Maybe it's just a start. But for now, the empire was still standing. Cracked, bruised, and scarred. But standing, and as the sun set on the wildest, most dramatic courtroom saga hip-hop had seen in years, fans were left with one truth. Lil Durk had walked through fire, lost people, almost lost his freedom. But he came out of it with a new hunger, a new fire, and a new story that was only just beginning. Because if Part 4 taught us anything needs, that the streets will test your name. Your circle will test your soul, and only the real ones survive when the smoke clears. And Lil Durk, he survived. So now the dust has finally started to settle. But the scars are still fresh, the trust is still broken, and the streets, they're still whispering. Lil Durk Mytov walked out of that courtroom, but the drama he survived is something that'll follow him any tip hop for a long, long time. From emotional breakdowns to shocking betrayals, from twisted evidence to courtroom bombshells, this wasn't just a legal case. This was a full-blown saga. It's one that revealed the darkest corners of fame, loyalty, and what happens when the people closest to you choose survival over silence. The fans are still divided. Some believe Durk should cut off everyone and rebuild from scratch. Others think there's still more to the story, that not every snake has shown its fangs yet. And what about Ace's confession? Was it too little, too late? Was his apology real or just another play for sympathy? And let's not forget Malik, still missing. Will he ever resurface? Will Durk's lawsuit against the state actually go through? And most importantly, will this entire situation make Durk stronger or leave him permanently changed? We want to hear from you. What do you think really went down? Who do you believe was truly loyal and who just played their part until the heat turned up? Drop your theories in the comments. Do you think Durk is finally free for good? Or is there another twist still coming? If you're still locked in after this emotional roller coaster, then go ahead, like this video, subscribe for more real fake rap drama, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next saga. Because in the world of hip-hop, nothing stays quiet. For Long Dot and Trust Us, this ain't the last time we'll hear Lil Durk's name shaking the headlines. Stay tuned.